Good day, my dear viewers. This is another episode on faith and finance. My name, your host, is Oyeleke Ajiboye. I'm the host of Faith and Finance. This program is tailored at meeting the needs of believers, children of God. People want to learn about faith, finance, and then we delve into different topics that are related to faith, finance, and the Bible has always been our guideline. Okay, disclaimer. Episode 11 to 20, we are talking about investments. And last week, we looked at real estate investments. I may not know everything. I'll tell you what I know. Please do your due diligence. Don't say, because you said this, I did this, I lost money. There is more to that. There's a God factor. There's the knowledge factor. There's the use of professionals, lawyers, surveyors, and all those in the beauty industry. As we go on this investment on real estate land, then we'll go to other investments on stocks, treasury bills, money markets, all of those things. We're just going to take them in phases. All right. Once again, my name is Oyeleke Ajiboye. I'm the host of Faith and Finance. Please subscribe to this channel so you can get notifications whenever we make a new video and we post it on air. Okay, so last week we looked at real estate as a type of investment. And under real estate, our first core was land. And under land, I gave us five guidelines, 5 areas you have to agree, make a decision on them, and then define those things, examine those things before you start saying, I want to buy land. One of it I asked was that the first thing I said you should consider is the person you are buying from, that the person you are buying from is important than the property you are buying. I gave reasons. You can watch that in episode 11. I also said anywhere you are buying, there must be government presence. If there's no government presence, that place, the rate of appreciation will be very slow. Land appreciates anywhere in Nigeria as long as you bought it at the right price. You also must avoid future pricing when you are buying. So I also said you have to define your purpose of buying the land. So if the purpose is not defined, you will just be buying land anywhere. At the end of the day, you will not be able to use the land. I remember one of those years when I started agriculture. I was investing heavily in agriculture. At the point we had over 700 acres of agricultural land. This is far back 2013. Over 700 acres across different places. I acquired the land somewhere in close to Iseyin in 2013. And I never went there. I was just trying to, let me just acquire land. Skogi everywhere. Just rubbish. I lost a lot of money because I didn't define the purpose. I was just carried away, excited about just acquiring agric land, buying land, banking for agriculture, and I was wasting money. One of it was the one I got in Oyo State. I never went there. I told somebody to be going there. By the time the person I told to be going from Lagos, my staff, we tried to start cassava there. The next thing we start seeing Fulanis there. Nothing is happening there. Fulani chased our workers away, and that's I abandoned the land. Have I lost money? Yes. Was that a bad investment? Yes. Should I do that again? No. So you must define your purpose. So for me now, if I'm buying a land, I want the land to be where I have access. There's government presence. There's positive growth. It's not threatened by any of these things I mentioned. I had another one. I planted cocoa there. I didn't mention this last week. I planted cocoa, about 20 hectares also, between Ogun State and Osun State, but it was far inside. It's in Ikoyi, in something, Agowu, Ikoyi, between Osun State, Ogun, and Oyo boundary. That place is hidden somewhere. It takes me an average of 1 hour to get to the farm from a third road. And from that third route to the farm, there's no internet again. I used to go there, take plantain. I was excited, I was munching. But now I can't take that risk again. So the land is there. The cocoa somebody harvested. I don't even know. I just abandoned. That is a loss. So as much as possible, you have to define your purpose of investing. Don't just invest because somebody tells you to come and buy land. Pricing. I mentioned that. And title is king. Make sure whatever you are buying. I also spoke about different titles in Lagos. I related it to Abuja, talked about Port Harcourt briefly. So anywhere you are buying, you need to be able to define and understand the titles in those locations. So today we are looking at the other type of investment that happens in real estate. We looked at land. The other one is building. So in building is actually one of the core areas of development in a country. When there's just land, the location is not going to develop. It is the building that houses human beings. It's a population that brings businesses, that brings trade, that increases market growth, hospitals, school, all of this. So building is very, very important. In fact, it's a major factor in real estate investments. But however, as an investor, there are different ways you can actually go into building acquisition. Now, there are people that do buying. They buy a ready-made building and then over time they sell. There are also people that there's something that is usually called abroad flipping, and then there are people that also build and sell. Now, if you want to do buying a building and sell, is different from building a house or houses and selling. Buying a building and sell means that you are trusting the land acquisition of who you are buying from. You are trusting that the person has dotted all the I's and crossed the T's. You are trusting the person has a valid title. You are trusting the person has a building approval, authority to construct, has done all the due diligence on the land, because by law, the owner of the land owns everything that is on top of it. So if you buy a house and unfortunately the land doesn't have a good title, error. I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago, I was on Channels TV, and then there was something that happened that week. A lady was crying, did a video when Coastal Road started, that they just bought the house less than 3 months, new house, terrace, and they came to demolish. They bought the house 90-something million, and the house was right in the middle of the Coastal Road. So the question is, how did they get a title? How did they get a building approval? I don't have all the answers. But you know that when there is a building approval, when there is a valid title and a valid building approval, even when those things comes, there are ways to mitigate and manage the loss by way of getting compensation from government. It may not be easy, yes, I know. There might be some legal also and all that, who you know. But at least you have something to fall back on. And I always advise people to always do insurance. But unfortunately, title insurance is not something we do in Nigeria. There's title insurance in the US. You can insure your title against any adverse claim on the land ownership or the property ownership. So when you are buying, you are trusting that the person that you are buying the house from has done all those things. And you are not going to be bearing the risk if the person has done the right thing. But if the person has not done the right thing, the person will sell the house, will sell the risk to you, and you will bear the risk. You will actually carry it. The lady that lost the money now, if the person that sold the house to her has relocated to Canada or South Africa or somewhere else, it's on her. She has lived there for 3 months. You just be looking for the person. The person will say, I sold the house to you. Go and face government. So it's also key that even despite the fact that you are buying a house, you want to do the due diligence on the land of the house you are buying. So buying a house and selling it is a very, very good way of also multiplying wealth, growing money in real estate. So I'll give us 2 examples. I have a senior friend that I won't mention him. I won't mention where he lives. You might also watch this video. He just buys land. When I met him many years ago, I met him through a project of ours over almost 15 years ago. And then he bought from us. And I discovered that over the years, we became close. All what he does was, he doesn't do rental. He just buys a house. He's a businessman. He will make sure he gets a good deal when he's buying the house. So take, for instance, he buys a house of 100 million naira. He buys the house, he keep it there. He said he doesn't like wala of tenants, and I quite agree with him. He will add it to his existing portfolio of properties. So if his existing portfolio of properties is 500 million naira, by the time he adds that one and they do valuation, the value of the asset after 1 year can actually go from that 100 million to maybe 130 million. So 130 plus the existing asset. So he was using it to build a massive asset debenture, a big balance sheet of his real estate assets. So easily, it can easily go to the bank and say, bank, I need 5 billion loan. Bank will say, where's your asset? It just shows them everything. So that's property that he has, is generating money from it indirectly by using it as a lending, as a borrowing instrument to get money, to lend money from the bank. So as he's doing that, he's getting a cheaper rate from the bank. He's able to grow his business. He's not bothered himself with tenant and all that. In fact, some properties, he told me, he holds them for like 10 years, no tenants. He just maintains them, because he's not interested in the revenue from the tenant. He's just trying to build a good portfolio. Maybe he should have made more money from tenants, but he just felt it would distract his business, and he's trying to grow it. He just wants the property. Whenever he wants to sell it, he will sell it as a new house. Nobody ever lived in it. So he just does basic things. In fact, some of the houses he does, he won't do all the complete fittings so that it won't be stolen. He just make it livable, basic, and be doing valuation, adding to his books. So at the end of the day, he keeps using it to borrow money. The property is there. He's not encumbered, and when he wants to sell, he sells off. I learned a very good lesson from that. So from that also, I learned that as a businessman, I needed to also build a portfolio of real estate assets that I'm not going to sell. They are just going to be there, and I'll be using them to trade, get funding. Let me give you an example of one. This property was built with maybe an average of, it's about 10 years now, maybe an average of 25 million thereabout, or 30 million. In present day market now, this property is almost 400, 500 million. Without exaggerating, maybe 450 million. Yeah, maybe 450 million. So this property now, imagine if I am using it to trade, I'm still selling. The value of the house is going up. That's a plus for me. At the same time, I'm still using it to borrow money from the bank to do business. And on that money I took from the bank again, I'm getting profits. So it's one of the easy ways to, as a businessman, to grow your business. Now, if you now have a very good real estate agent or a lawyer that can manage your property, that is a plus, because you also be getting some money in from there. Well, other people are afraid of getting money in and then also spending it again to evict, to maintain, and all of that. But buying and selling of houses is also very good. But again, in doing all of these things, you must also dot all the I's and the T's. Like I said, whatever the person buying land has done, you must do the same thing to be sure that that has been properly done. Okay. So the other one is building and selling. This is the one I want to focus on. As an investment, you can buy a house and resell. Good. You can also build and sell. Now, if you want to do the building and sell, that means you are assuming all the responsibility of the person buying the land. You have to do all those 5 things I talked about. You must check them. Now, aside those things, you can't do the business of buying a house, buying land and building to sell if you are not available, if you are not physically present, if you cannot go to the site unannounced, if you cannot be there. Please don't do it. You are going to lose so much money. You are going to spend something you are supposed to build with 10 million naira. You end up building it with 25 million, and you will be unable to sell it. So if you are not going to be there, don't try it. You see, aside availability, the other thing is you must have street sense. So you must have some level of craziness. Let me use that word. Because I see a couple of people to have told me, no, I tried to start building something in Lagos, I gave this, and you are there abroad, your money don't enter one chance. Or you are in Abuja, there are very few people that you would trust such things to, especially family members, and then it's to get it done easily. Yes, you can also use companies, but you'll be coming at a cost. But even if the company is coming at a cost to build for, you must be sure that you have gotten back. You've tightened your finances very well. You are trading your peace of mind and all of this. But if you want to do it as a business, your physical presence must be there, because at that time, where you're supposed to do the project for maybe 10 million, let me say 100 million, you would end up doing it for maybe 120 million if you are the one that did it by yourself. If a company does it for you, it might be 140 million. But if you now say you are not around and you want to give it to somebody thinking the person will give you a quote of 100 million to do it, you end up spending 200 million in most cases. So you end up losing more than if you were there by yourself or you give it to a professional company or corporate person to do. So that is one thing you need to know about buying, building, and sell. Why did I say that you need to have some sense of some level of craziness? You must have market sense, because they can tell you now that this style is this make. That means you are going to go and school yourself on how to build a house. I'm not sure if you have another primary job, you won't be able to do it. So you need to learn one first, test run with one, maybe engage somebody, learn from them how they do it. You do that one, you may not make so much money, go to the other one. Because in Nigeria, there's been several contentions about housing deficit, which is well between maybe 17 million to 25 million. Different data are flying around it, but the bottom line is there is a huge housing deficit. Well, another contention is, are people able to buy? Affordability is a question. Yeah, affordability is a question, but however, there's still a huge housing deficit. So meaning that if you build well, if you build right, you will always sell. So now, if you now decide to invest in building and selling, you now need to ensure that you dot all this, because building by yourself and selling is a lot of work. I can tell you, even from building approval alone, I get a lot of clients that buy land from us and they start processing their building approval. When they start getting gas bills, they say, don't worry, I want to convert my land back to building. Tell me any housing unit you have. Let me use as a, and they just jettison the application even with the money, because they look at all the orders they have to go through. So if you have to build and sell, be ready for that. However, you might be able to make some good margin. Now, there's a difference in when you buy land as an investment to sell and when you buy a house as an investment to sell. It is easier to sell a house than a land. So if you use 100 million to buy a house, in a year you might be able to sell it in 120, 130 million. That may make 20-30%. You might be able to get buyers faster. But if you invest 100 million in land, in a year the property value can get up to as high as 200 million. But it may not be so easy to turn it into cash. So as an investor, as a Christian investor, as a child of God investing, you need to identify your purpose of investing. This one, I want to buy this land for a long time to appreciate value. And whenever I need to sell it, I know that I need to give myself 6 months, 1 year to be able to sell. This house I am investing in, I want to be able to sell it within 6 months. I want to get 25%, 30% of my money in 6 months or 1 year. That is why I'm doing it. And this house that I'm also buying again to sell, you have to define everything to be sure that you are not trapped at any point in time. And you can't put all your money into these assets. These are tangible assets. They are the surest, they are the safest. There are intangible assets like stocks, treasury bills, money market that I said we'll still talk about. Those ones can go up today and go down tomorrow, go down. You can actually lose a lot of money faster. But you can also be able, you may also be able, or not just may, you can also cash out within 24 hours. You can give an instruction to your broker that I want to sell my shares, get your money. You can terminate a deposit and get your money within 48, 72 hours. So those ones, you must also have them by the side for days that you need quick cash that selling a property cannot give you. For days that you need quick cash that selling a land cannot give you. So investing as a child of God, you need to be able to define why you're buying land, why you're putting money in a house to buy, what kind of other financial instrument are you putting your money, which one can help you attend to emergency needs, maybe stocks and all of that. When you have quick cash, you can sell. Okay, so while building and selling a house gives you actually more profits than buying and selling, if you don't know something, you lose more. I say you have to be available. If you have to do that, your physical presence will be there. You must have street sense. You must have some level of craziness to deal with some artisans and workers. However, you can actually be there like this and they'll be using an inferior product for you when you don't know. You can actually be there and they are changing your structural designs and you don't know. So you cannot take away the area of engaging professionals. Actually, the best way is actually to have consultants. Let them work independently. If you have to do this, have a structural person, have an architect, have a quantity surveyor. The quantity surveyor will be coming from time to time to look at cost, balance with quality, look at what they are doing. The civil engineer will be coming to align that all the structural members are well aligned, no shortcomings on concrete, on reinforcement, they are not changing the rebars. Some I've been to a house I went to inspect for someone that they wanted to sell, and I was shocked that at the lintel they were using wood for lintel. Wood for lintel. They put hardwood and then they put blocks on top. I don't know the rationale. There might be a beam above, but the wood is not the best thing to use. They could have maybe used reinforcements, maybe they do a small precast, or just use a tiny iron because there's no load bearing there. But using wood is off. So as much as possible, you need to have technical person that can be on it to help you. So don't treat any investment you are doing with any investment you are executing lightly. Make sure you are putting all your effort, because it is your sweat, and then you are dealing with the guiding of the Holy Spirit and with some mentors, some professionals guiding you. Whether it's still the first one you want to do land, whether it's still buying and selling houses, or whether it is still build and sell. So I'll tell you a story of one of my friends. In 2012, we did about three terraces for him. That was his first house. He's never had a house. So we built that project over 2 years. He was paying in installments, milestone. And then he moved into the first one. Was happy. The remaining two, I advised him not to take tenants there, so that anytime he wants to sell, he'll be able to sell it as a new house. He lived in his house for like 2 years. Then he found somewhere else better, closer to town. Again, I mentioned last week, your first house doesn't matter. Just make sure you're going to a good place. And he got it. So he sold the first terrace, sold the second terrace. The two terraces gave him sufficient money to acquire a house closer to town. The one he was now living, he now left it. He moved to town. The one he was living was the last one he sold. By the time he sold that one, now he's been able to get a finer house, closer to town, better location, with extra change. But look at the process. It was built over time. Somebody was engaged to build, and that was his first house. He has learned, he has done all, and he made good money. Those stories are not always the same thing. Somebody else would have done that and burnt his fingers. Somebody else may not have gotten the right advice. Somebody else must have rented it out, and then now he wants to sell, because the moment the tenant goes in, actually the value comes down. And that's why some people, when they just build the house, the intention is to resell. They really don't even just put any tenants, because when they know that when the tenant comes in, there is wear and tear, and a lot of things will begin to happen, and then anybody buying is like buying a used house, and they will never price it as brand new. Okay, all right. So don't take out the area of technical skill. So under building also, we also have shortlets. Actually, in today's economy now, if you are able to acquire a property within 30 minutes drive to any airport, you are good. 30 minutes to an airport, especially international airport, and it's a city. If you can't do 30 minutes in an airport that is in the middle of nowhere, because I said airport, you are living next in the bush, you all know. So I'm looking at places that are cities, 30 minutes to the airport, that is functional, and you want to do shortlet. The airport must be running, not future airports. You can't do shortlet for future airports. But for is functional now, let me use Lagos State for example, MMA 1 or MMA 2. If you are buying a property and you are within a 30 minutes radius of the airport, your shortlet value, and if the location is good, is far good. So 30 minutes radius, I'm looking at from Ikeja. I have Ikeja GRA. I have Mongoro Cement. I have towards Ajao Estate, Isolo. I have Ilupeju. I have Maryland. I have Obanikoro. All those places are still within an average 30 minutes Oregun to the airport, Kwebi, Allen, and the rest. If you get a shortlet around that place, now you are going to be attracting different markets for shortlets when you buy a unit of a house for shortlet. So when you are doing shortlet also, I was speaking to someone that's an expert in shortlets a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, and she said if you are going to go into shortlets, the one that moves most is the 1 bedroom, followed by the 2 bedroom. Don't go and buy a 4 bedroom terrace and say you want to do shortlets. You will sit down there because if somebody is coming into town for a business for 2 days, it doesn't need a 4 bedroom. It just needs a room and possibly a sitting room. And sometimes in some cases there might be two. It might not even mind taking two if you can't find a 1 bedroom. So you'll be looking at investing in properties that has 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. So you're looking at a 1 bedroom. Take for instance, I did a recent survey around Ikeja, Maryland, Oregun, Okwebi, Allen, up to Adeni Jones area. You can get shortlets of 1 bedroom an average of 100,000 per night. In fact, if you go to hotels, some hotels are like about 70, 80, 90, they're their basic room. But when you're using shortlet that has a sitting room, a kitchen separate, a room separate, toilet, shower, and you have some homeliness, you can cook, you can microwave, you can do all those things. Because that's the advantage of shortlets. You can take care of yourself. You can even travel with your stew, get to where you want to do, warm your food, eat, and then go back to your primary residence. So if you have a shortlet that is in a good location, secured, no issues, and the rest like that. Take for instance, invest 150 million. Let me take my calculator. In buying a property like that in Ikeja or Oregun, I have one if you want to buy anyway. And you do one bedroom for 150 million, and then you are collecting an average rent of daily for shortlet 100,000. So in 30 days is 100 times 30. That's 3 million naira every month. That is if you have full occupation. If you are having 70% occupation, that comes to 2.1 million. Now, I also spoke with somebody. I said, how often would you be getting occupation? He said, once the furniture is good, location is good to the airport, location is good to basic facilities, not far from the island, not far from business locations, you can comfortably get 70% occupation, and you can even get more. 70% occupation, that's 2.1 million times 12 months. That means you are getting a net of 25,200,000 annually on your shortlet of 1 bedroom that you bought 150. If I multiply it times 7 years, that's how you want to get your money back in 7 years. 7 years, your money is 176,400,000. Meaning in 7 years, you have actually gotten back your cash in purchase, which is 176,400,000. minus 150 million that you use in buying it. That means you are 26,400,000 better. I have not added cost of maintenance. I'm just giving you a raw figure. If you are going to need this, you are going to go into further details. So I've not added other operational costs, maintenance, and all of that. Then I have also assumed that this 100,000 will be the same thing for 7 years, which is not true. So if it's 100,000 this year, next year obviously might even be 110. 2 years time, you can't say rent to be shortlet for hotel will be 100,000 this year and it's going to be the same thing 7 years. So I've used worst case scenario. So let's assume that all those extra that might come will cover up for some maintenance and the rest. Now the property you also bought 150 million. Averagely, property goes up in Nigeria at an average of 6 to 10% value. Normal. But when there is inflation, it can be times 3, it can be times 4. It can be 100%, it can be 200%. But in a normal scenario, let's say it even goes up by 10% every year. Compound interest, this property will be worth an average of maybe 200 and something, 350 million after 7 years. If you add it to your 176, that means your property you bought 150 million in year 1 for shortlet is now giving you both income and value, paper value valuation of 426 million. You see that is very good. However, not everybody can do shortlets, because if everybody now begins to rush and focus on shortlet, the market will be clustered. But shortlet, again, like I said, must be focused on specific location. So like I said, everybody cannot do shortlets. So we need to understand that one of the key things I said about real estate are knowing the purpose of buying. So if you are doing short let, there must be some requirements that your property must also meet. Access to road, security, electricity, good road, closeness to business areas, market hub, social gatherings, airport, and all those things. Don't go and say you want to do short lets and you carry your property to let me use an example. Epe or Badagry. Your short let will be maybe once in a year. So you will not make money. So I've used extreme cases because I don't want to seem to be the market in any location. But I've given you some tips. It must be within 30 minutes. 30 minutes, maximum 40 minutes. Yeah, people do short lets in Ikoyi, VI, Lekki Phase 1. They find it attractive because not just because of the airport. They know from the airport to actually Ikoyi is an average of 35-40 minutes when there's no traffic. But they look at all the nightlife, the things they get to enjoy on the island. So it's attractive for them. We also have that on the mainland, but maybe not as much as the island. But people that are also looking at, I want to just, they are flying out of the country from Lagos, but they are living maybe in Ibadan, they are living in Osun. They want to stay close to the airport, get a short let before they travel. So there's a lot of advantages when you are very close to the airport that you can harness as a short let investor. So short let is really good. You must have somebody good that can manage it, and you don't have to be there physically present. There are companies now that they help people to handle it. They take it off, but they will make some money out of it. If you don't mind, you'll still be very good. You still make good money, and that will be fine. Another one is rental. So under building also, people build houses with intention to rent it. I was told about an elderly person just yesterday. She has a property and she's locked it up for years. And people keep telling her they want to rent. But she said she suffered a lot of trauma from the last tenant she had. So she can't just start renting out properties again. That is just one story from one person. So I want to encourage people also. When you rent a house from someone, please treat it well. And you trust God that one day you own your own, and then you would also be able to rent out to somebody. There's a huge problem between landlords and tenants. Yes, some landlords are bad, some tenants who are bad. But when you see a good one, don't abuse it. Don't take advantage of it. Maintain the relationship as much as possible, and it will be good. So rental is another good one. However, rental takes a longer time. In Nigeria before, it used to be an average of 25 years to get your money back on rental on the property, but it's gradually becoming better. In recent studies, about 12 to 15 years now, while in the UK, like 7 to 8 years. In America, it's like 6 years. So, but the Nigerian is getting to like 12 to 15 years, which is not bad. But what that means is people are now beginning to pay more for rent because rent really went up. So if we were going to talk about rent of 2 years ago, it will still be around 22 years. But with the recent jump in rent, and then the rent has actually gone further in percentage than even the cost of material going up. So people raising materials, raising rent because of cost of materials, the rental income, the way it's been jacked up has been really high. Well, I know I may not be able to debate that, but I know that there are people that have also done some studies to say, compare the differences. You also look at where everybody is getting their source of funds from. Somebody is borrowing money at very ridiculous rate and he needs to build a house or develop and rent out. You also want to justify it with rent. So rent is also a good way of investing in real estate. There's another one they say buy and buy back. I don't do buyback. I don't advise anybody to do. They call it buyback in real estate. It's actually like a Ponzi. It's a Ponzi. It's not like it's a Ponzi. It's a gamble. So why did I say that? It's something that I've known in this industry for years. So if somebody has a good business, so let me just open your eyes. If you're a businessman or an investor and you need money, your best friend is the bank. I'm not campaigning for any bank, but I've seen how banks have helped people's businesses and has really helped my business to grow too. Your best, because borrowing money from the bank teaches you financial discipline, integrity. The bank is not going to give you money just like that. They want to see your document process, see that you are doing well, and advise you where they see there are loopholes. However, Somebody that says he has an asset of 1 billion and says, my asset has tied to low and it is very good, but I want to divide my asset into 1,000 units. So 1,000 units, let me just do a small calculation. That means I'm selling 1 unit at 1 million naira. So 1,000 units, let me say I have 1,000 plots or 1,000 lots, and I'm doing at 1 million naira, or I even make it 500 plots and I'm doing at 2 million naira. Or I even say I have divided by 1,000 divided by 5, I have 200 plots and I'm doing at 5 million naira. And I say, these 200 plots, I'm putting it in the market at 5 million naira each. And I want you to be, and after 6 months, I will give you 7.5 million naira. And that person is saying he's giving you 50%. And he's saying after 12 months, I will give you 10 million naira. And he has 200 plots. Does this make sense to you? Number one, the greedy person is only looking at the 50% he wants to make, or the 100% he wants to make. What the bank would ask is, or if smart finance person will ask is, you have these 200 plots. If this 200 plots is worth 5 million naira, and you know that it will grow to 7.5 million naira, why not go sell? Right? If you don't sell, why not go to the bank? If the 200 plot is truly worth 5 million naira, because that's what the bank will do. The bank will want to value the asset and validate that that asset value you have put is the real value. There is open market value, there is for sale value. If the bank goes and looks at this property, so let's say scenario 1, the 5 million property, you have told people that this property is worth 5 million, I will give you 2.5 million. If the bank values it, do you know the bank can come to that the value is 2 million naira or 1 million naira? And if they value that 2 million naira for sale value or even open market value, 2 million naira, that means from day one, you are buying a property that is worth 2 million naira for 5 million naira. And they told you they are going to give you 7.5%, 7.5 million back after 6 months, meaning you are giving 50% on top of your money. Meaning that actually what you are gaining is 1.5 million, and they'll put a clause there that in case they are unable to pay you this money within this period, they will give you the land value. If they give you the land value of 10 million naira, and you think your one plot has become 10 million naira and they give you after 1 year, they have actually sold the land of 2 million naira open market value to you at how much? 5 million naira. The second one is even when they don't even put a clause, you keep going back and forth. It's just like a pyramid scheme. Somebody will start pulling money and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. I remember some Ponzi schemes are falling victim into in the past. When I first left Unilag, and then there was one of my friends, he told me about Nutpresco, some other Monda money back then, you know. He just took some of his money from Shell. Me too, I took some money, I had them, we went there, we registered, they gave us a card. They told us in 1 month we'll come and collect 50% of our money. I was looking at the card like this. I was born again, I was a child of God, but I was greedy, I didn't have financial sense. I was looking for quick money. 1 month come, they didn't come. The second month, the office used to be in Ojodubaga. Before I knew, the office was closed. They said CBN seized their money. That's the last I had. And as I had my small money then went away. Since then, I've learned not to be greedy and to develop financial sense. There was another one they were doing online. They said 3 years, something. You have wallet online. You'll be seeing the money online. To move it to your account, it will not move. Before you knew it, the website just crashed. It disappeared. And people have devised many means to use, whether buy back real estate land to swindle people. Some people have used it to, they will use agric. Whether they say cassava, rice, oil, all these things. You just have to ask questions. Not everybody is fake. Not everybody is wrong. But when you ask the right question, you'll be so sure that it's either these people have good intentions, they don't know how to go about it. And your questions you ask them might even help them to fine-tune their plan. I was listening to the platform and the program that was on me. For there was a man that was talking about how he started his business, studying maths and statistics, Can't remember his name and his business now, but how he went into agriculture, doing cooperative, and he was doing it small. He was meeting people, learning, asking. I'm sure he was acknowledged. Somebody must have guided him that do it this way, do it this way. He was doing credit for farmers and all that. He must have gotten some support of people in the banking sector or finance sector to guide him. Some people can run with energy and have good passion and say, I can do buyback. I will get 25% per 6 months. It's okay. The money I'm going to make is going to be 50% in 6 months. 25% is not a big deal. I will pay them. What if you don't make that 50%? Because there is no business plan that is completely failure proof, that cannot fail. You need the God factor. You need the help of people. You need professionals. So as much as possible, when I tell you that the bank is your friend, if I'm this person that has 200 plots actually, and I'm sure of my land, I would rather look for a bank that will bank on me. But before the bank will bank on you, they will be sure that everything is correct. Is that ability to make sure that your document, everything is correct, is what most people run from. And it actually helps business to grow very well. I've said it before. My first loan in business was after 7 years. 7 years. I didn't take any loan in business for the first 7 years. I was actually pouring back all the profit into it, just growing the business. And my first loan in business was 35 million or 30 million from Fidelity Bank then. And that was how I started. Some banks that I was even banking on, they did not loan me, but Fidelity started, they trusted me. And from there, I started from there, and other banks. I've done businesses with other banks after that. I think it was Fidelity first, then Stanbic, then Keystone, then Wema. Wema is one of my best partners now, so I can campaign for Wema. So and Wema has been really helping our business. So you can go to the bank. Let the bank help you to structure your business if that happens to you. And if you're an investor, you are looking for money, avoid high risk like all this buyback, all these cryptos that you don't understand very well, or they tell you put your money here, you will get this return, and you didn't ask question. You only see a flyer and you just jump in. Something happened 2 years ago. An American, in fact she's a Congolese, she knows me in the US. Somebody sent a buyback from Nigeria here to her in a group she belongs in the US, and told her to invest in dollar in Nigeria. They will collect the dollar here, telling them they were going to do buyback in Nigeria. Now, when I saw the flyer, I saw the company. It's a run, no. When I saw the contract they give her, when you go comot for America, come collect land for one bush for Nigeria, when this thing fails, how is it going to happen? And you're not even a Nigerian. But these people will market you, you will do everything. So as an investor, you must guard your money. One of the books I used to talk about, one of the things I learned there is, apart from learning to save, make money, you must learn how to protect your money. This is what I'm talking about here as an investor. Whether you are buying land, whether you are buying a house to sell, or you are building to sell, or you are doing an investment scheme in real estate, there's no investment skill in real estate actually that you can take that risk, because real estate is a tangible asset. It's not something that you can invest in a land today and you can beat your chest to say that I will sell this land in 1 month. It doesn't work like that. So where is that person that you have given your money to going to get you the returns to get the money back? If that person's business is so good, that you're so sure of it, you should go to the bank. You are the one taking too much of the risk. But when they go to the bank, aside the risk that they get, I actually advise entrepreneurs to do that. It will actually help them at the end of the day. Okay. So we're going to be drawing the curtain today on episode 12. Episode 11, we started a new episode last week. From episode 11 to 20, we're talking about investments. I'll be happy to get your questions, contributions, comments. Please send them to my email, oyeleke@gmail.com. We will look at it. Anything you want us to talk about on land acquisition, where you are buying, government presence, purpose, you want me to suggest places to you, I'll be happy to do that. Buildings, how you can acquire properties in building for investment, but whether you are building to resell, building to rent, building for short let, or you are buying the land and building by yourself, and also rental income. We've also talked about buyback and the the pitfalls in it, and the right questions you have to ask. Okay, thank you so much for today. Once again, I'm your host, Oyeleke Ajiboye. See you some other time. God bless you.